Dear God, today as the session opens, we pray that your presence will be before us and everyone who served in the decision-making process of our city. We pray for direction which will lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which will be for the good of our city. We also pray for your special blessing on all those who are working to transform our city and make it a better place to live and work. Amen. Please join me now in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, good evening. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Councilor Broderick?
Here.
Councilor Caulfield?
Here.
Councilor Dakota?
Here.
Councilor Elliott?
Here.
Councilor Martin?
Here.
Councilor Mendoza?
Here.
Councilor Mercia?
Here.
Mayor Milanazzo?
Here.
Councilor Murphy?
Here.
9 present.
9 present. Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to offer a moment of silence in darkened chamber for George Ward, a lifelong resident of Lowell. For over 51 years, he was the husband of Alice Greenelge Eklund Ward, who died in April of this year. Mr. Ward was a union plasterer who later was the proprietor of Backer Bay Roofing. He was very supportive of his son's boxing career. He is survived by 9 children: Mickey, Donna, Gail, Dickie, Phyllis, Cindy, Catherine, Alice, and Sherry, 19 grandchildren and 20 great-grandchildren and 2 great-great-grandchildren. Our sympathy go out to the family. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Mercia. Anyone else? Let us all rise now. A moment of silence in darkened chamber. Thank you. May he rest in peace. The first order of business, we actually have 4 sets of minutes to review and approve this evening. Anybody have any comments or questions? We have the regular city council meeting on November 1st, finance subcommittee of November 1st, the ad hoc clerk oversight of October 27th, and the public safety subcommittee of September 8th.
Move to approve.
Move for approval by Council Caulfield, second by Council Mendoza. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, it's a vote. Under unfinished business, we did post yesterday afternoon a special meeting to discuss the resumes, rank, and interview for the open position of city clerk. We're scheduled to meet tomorrow, November 9th at 6 p.m. here in the council chambers. I know that Council Caulfield and I believe Councilor Dakota, you're not available, correct? But everyone else indicated that they would be available. Council Caulfield.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I can't make that meeting tomorrow evening, but I gave you the resumes
I have them.
that
yes.
I wish to have interviewed. So.
Correct. Thank you. Thank you. So we'll meet tomorrow evening on that unfinished business item. Under the city manager, communications from city manager, responses to city council motions and requests. Council Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. November 1st, I made a motion regarding to ask the manager if the proper department could repair the steps in front of the old health department in the JFK Plaza, and mission accomplished. And I took a look at them, very, very thrilled. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing none, motion, Councilor Dakota, excuse me.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to thank you for the response to the lighting issues on Page and John Street. This will be good news to the residents of downtown, and we look forward to additional solutions. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Motion to accept the communications placed on file by Council Mendoza, second by Council Martin. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed to vote. Next item, we have a constable bond. Let me just read the communication. It's addressed to our acting city clerk, Mr. Slagle. Please find attached one application for constableship for the current term beginning on January 4th, 2011 and terminating January 7th, 2014 in the city of Lowell with my signature as submitted to me by Giovanni Bloise Fry, 20 Bradford Street, Bradford, Massachusetts. Thank you for attention in this matter. Please do not hesitate to contact me if you have any questions. Any discussion? Motion to approve. Motion to approve by Councilor Broderick, seconded by Councilor Dakota. Roll call.
Councilor Broderick?
Yes.
Councilor Caulfield?
Yes.
Councilor Dakota?
Yes.
Councilor Elliott?
Yes.
Councilor Martin?
Yes.
Councilor Mendoza?
Yes.
Counselor Mercier?
Yes.
Mayor Milonazo?
Yes.
Counselor Murphy?
Yes.
9 yeas.
Thank you. Counsel Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to comment on one of the communications from the manager. It wasn't in the packet, but was on our desk this evening. And it was just a letter from the Mass Association of Conservation Commissions notifying us that Craig Thomas, who serves as the administrator to our Conservation Commission, has completed a certification program. I'm a former chair of the Conservation Commission, and I know it's considerable effort involved in going through this process. And so I think, this training brings greater expertise to the Conservation Commission, and Craig is the one who deals with the public on a day-to-day basis. The individual commissioners have the authority to do that, but don't always have the availability to do that. So it's important we have someone on staff who knows these laws and knows the issues. And so just congratulate Craig on completing the program.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. Moving on, under City Manager, communication from the City Manager requesting approval of out-of-state travel for the Lowell Police Department.
So moved.
So moved by Counsel Mercier, seconded by Counsel Broderick. Roll call.
Counselor Broderick?
Yes.
Counselor Caulfield?
Yes.
Counselor Dakota?
Yes.
Counselor Elliott?
Yes.
Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Mendonça?
Yes.
Counselor Mercier?
Yes.
Mayor Milonazo?
Yes.
Counselor Murphy?
Yes.
9 yeas.
Thank you. In City Council order pursuant to Chapter 266 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Lowell, concerning Section 266-6 thereof entitled Temporary Experimental Regulations, Temporary Traffic Regulations are hereby implemented for a period of 60 days. Whereas the City of Lowell desires to make temporary rules regulating traffic under actual conditions for a period of 60 days, and whereas Chapter 266 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Lowell, Section 266-6 thereof entitled Temporary Experimental Regulations authorizes the City Council to make such temporary rules for a period not to exceed 60 days. Now therefore be it ordered, adjudged, and decreed by the City Council of the City of Lowell as follows. Effective immediately for a period of 60 days thereafter, the following temporary traffic regulations shall be implemented. Section 266-55, parking for handicapped persons, elderly drop-off zones. C, in order to accommodate the needs of handicapped persons, there are hereby set aside and reserved for persons having V or HP license plates, as well as temporary handicap parking permits, the following parking spaces is hereby amended by adding the following. On Ralph Street, number 17, on the north side, beginning at a point 9 feet east of the extension of the westerly curb line of Ware Street, running easterly along Ralph Street for a distance of 20 feet. There's no objection. Second reading by title in City Council order pursuant to Chapter 266 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Lowell concerning Section 266-6 thereof entitled Temporary Experimental Regulations, Temporary Traffic Regulations are hereby implemented for a period of 60 days. What's the wish of the council? Move approved by Counsel Mercier, second by Counsel Murphy. Any questions, comments? Roll call.
Counselor Broderick?
Yes.
Counselor Caulfield?
Yes.
Counselor Dakota?
Yes.
Counselor Elliott?
Yes.
Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Mendonça?
Yes.
Counselor Mercier?
Yes.
Mayor
That's okay.
Milonazo?
Yes, thank you.
Counselor Murphy?
Yes.
9 yeas.
Next few items are actually all being referred to public hearings. In City Council vote accepting the provisions of Section 16 of Chapter 270 of the Massachusetts General Laws in regards to prohibiting illegal dumping on public highways and also on property of another, whereas Section 16 of Chapter 270 of the Massachusetts General Laws would allow the City of Lowell to fine violators of illegal dumping, and whereas Section 16 of Chapter 270 of the Massachusetts General Laws provides a fine of not more than $5,500 for the first offense and not more than $15,000 for each subsequent offense. And whereas Section 16 of Chapter 270 also provides for the suspension of license to operate if a motor vehicle is used in committing said offense for not more than 30 days, and if operators owner of the vehicle, the registrar may suspend registration for not more than 30 days. And whereas by a majority vote of the City Council, with the approval of the City Manager, may enforce this section by designating its public health agents, health officers, and health directors as enforcing officers. And whereas Section 16 of Chapter 270 of the Massachusetts General Laws, permissive legislation, which must be accepted by the majority vote of the Lowell City Council in order to be effective in the City of Lowell. And whereas the City Council, pursuant to Council Rule 28, must hold a public hearing on this matter at least 1 week prior to this vote. Now therefore be it voted by a majority vote as follows, that the City Council of the City of Lowell hereby accepts the provisions of Section 16 of Chapter 270 of the Massachusetts General Laws, a copy of which is attached and marked as Exhibit A. Motion to refer to a public hearing for November 22nd by Councilor Mendonça, seconded by Councilor Caulfield. All those in favor of referring this vote to a public hearing signify by saying aye. Opposed, it's a vote. Next item, an ordinance. In City Council ordinance, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, City of Lowell, with respect to Chapter 270 thereof entitled Waste and Recycling. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Lowell as follows. The Code to the City of Lowell hereinafter called the Code adopted by the City Council on December 23, 2008 is hereby amended with respect to Chapter 270 thereof entitled Waste and Recycling by amending Sections 270-7 entitled Unlawful Disposal of Waste, Reward for Reporting Illegal Dumping as follows. By amending Section 270-2 definitions by including waste, any trash, bottles, cans, refuse, rubbish, garbage, debris, bulky items, scrap, waste, or other material of any kind, by deleting the last sentence in Section 270-5C, quote, a violation of this subsection is subject to a fine of $25, and amending it to read as follows, a violation of this subsection is subject to a fine of $100 for the first offense and $200 for the second offense. By deleting Section 270-7A in its entirety, which currently reads as follows, A, waste placed in public ways. Whoever places waste in a public ways that impedes the traveling public shall be punished by a fine of $200. By inserting a new Section 270-7A, which shall now read as follows, A, whoever places, throws, deposits, or discharges, or whoever causes to be placed, thrown, deposited, or discharged any waste in a public way or upon any public property shall be punished by a fine of $200 for each offense. If any provision of this chapter is held to be invalid by a court of competent jurisdiction, then such provision shall be considered separately and apart from the remaining provisions which shall remain in full force and effect. All provisions of the Lowell City Code as amended, which are consistent with this ordinance, shall continue in effect, but all provisions of said code inconsistent herewith are repealed. The ordinance shall take effect upon its passage in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 43 of the Massachusetts General Laws, approved as to form, Christine P. O'Connor, City Solicitor. This gets referred to a public hearing again on November 22nd. Motion by Councilor Mendonça, seconded by Councilor Murphy, that this get referred to a public hearing on November 22nd. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, it's a vote.
November 22nd. I'm sorry, yeah, it was.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
these three articles that are going to public hearing, first of all, I want to thank my colleagues on the Neighborhood Traffic Subcommittee. All of these came out of that Neighborhood Subcommittee meeting, and I want to thank the Law Department for drafting these ordinances to stop the illegal dumping and increase the fees and fines. Thank you.
Thank you. In City Council ordinance, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Lowell, Massachusetts, the code with respect to Chapter 150 thereof entitled Fees, whereas it is the desire of the City of Lowell to amend certain sections of the fees ordinance, in particular under the Department of Public Works, Waste and Recycling, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Lowell as follows. The code for the City of Lowell, hereinafter called the code adopted by the City Council on December 23, 2008, is hereby further amended with respect to Chapter 150 thereof entitled Fees as follows, by amending the fees under waste and recycling as follows. White goods, CRTs, and bulky items violation from $25 fee to $100 for first offense and $200 for second offense. It is intended that this ordinance is divisible, and if any enumerated section of this ordinance to add or to amend the code is stricken from this ordinance, then the code as it read prior to this ordinance shall remain in full force and effect. This ordinance shall take effect immediately upon its passage in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 43 and Chapter 44 of Massachusetts General Laws, approved as to form, Christine P. O'Connor, City Solicitor. Motion to refer to a public hearing on November 22nd by Councilor Elliott, seconded by Councilor Dakota. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, to vote. We now have a loan order in City Council, loan order green repair projects to borrow $6,750,000 to pay costs of green repair projects at the school department for 4 projects and for the payment of any other costs incidental and related thereto. It is ordered by the City Council of the City of Lowell by a 2/3 vote as follows. Ordered that the sum of $6,750,000 is appropriated for the designing, engineering, construction, and/or installation of new roofs at Lowell High School and the Moody, Riley, and Washington Elementary Schools, new windows at the Moody and Washington Elementary Schools, and a new boiler at the Washington Elementary School, and all costs incidental and related thereto, that to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the city manager, is authorized to borrow $6,750,000 under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 70B, or any other enabling authority, and that the treasurer is authorized to file an application with the Municipal Finance Oversight Board to qualify under Chapter 44A of the General Laws, any and all of the bonds, and to provide such information and execute such documents as the Municipal Finance Oversight Board may require for these purposes. Order recommended, introduced by Bernard F. Lynch, City Manager. Motion to refer this to a public hearing on November 29th by Councilor Broderick, seconded by Councilor Mercia. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, it's a vote. The last loan order, again to be referred to a public hearing. In City Council loan order to reduce the borrowing authorized by the loan order of the City Council voted on April 20th, 2010 for the purpose of financing the cost of making energy efficiency improvements to various city buildings as called for in the city's energy services and energy savings guarantee agreements with Amoresco Incorporated, and for the payment of any other costs incidental and related thereto. It is ordered by the City Council of the City of Lowell by a 2/3 vote as follows. Ordered that the sum of $21 million is reduced by the amount of $285,000 so that the sum of $20,715,000 is appropriated to pay the cost of making energy conservation improvements to various city buildings as called for in the city's energy services and energy savings agreements with Amoresco Incorporated, and for the payment of any other costs incidental and related thereto, that to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the city manager, is authorized to borrow $20,715,000 and to issue bonds or notes therefore under General Law, Chapter 44, or any other enabling authority, that the city manager is authorized to contract for and expend any federal or state aid available for the projects, that the city manager is authorized to take any action necessary to carry out the projects, and that the treasurer is authorized to file an application with the Municipal Finance Oversight Board to qualify any and all of the bonds under General Law, Chapter 44A, and to provide such information and execute such documents as such board may require for these purposes. Any bonds or notes issued pursuant to this order may be issued as Build America bonds, Recovery Zone Economic Development bonds, Clean Renewable Energy bonds, or any other similar basis as the city manager shall determine to be in the best interest of the city. Order recommended, introduced by Bernard F. Lynch, City Manager. This would go to a public hearing also on November 29th. Motion by Council Martin, seconded by Council Elliott, to refer this loan order to a public hearing on November 29th. So ordered.
Mayor, can I-
Yes, Council Elliott.
question. Mr. Manager, when this loan order comes in, whatever the date that it's advertised, could you provide us with, Amoresco received renewable energy credits as part of this, it's not the city, it's Amoresco that is awarded, or is it the city? There were no renewable energy credits as part of this loan order?
I don't believe on this part, but we'll check on that,
Okay,
Counselor.
great. If you could, just to let us know when you bring that in. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Elliott. Next item,
Hey,
reports.
Pat,
I'm sorry, Council Martin.
Also on that, I noticed this is actually pretty good news. We've got a state match for most of this, and it's not clear to me, two projects are being broken out to a different program, so if we could get an explanation of that too, but it overall seems to be a very worthwhile thing given the state resources committed to this.
Yes.
Thank you, Council Mercia.
I find it kind of hard to believe that you got to go to a public hearing to reduce a bond. We're going to reduce a bond. We have to go to the public to ask for their approval or disapproval or whatever. That, to me, does not make any sense. But when we see the previous bond in front of us, and it says $6,750,000, we have to, well, we don't have to, but I mean, you approve of the whole 100% of that bond, when in essence it's an SBAB 7228, isn't it? Instead of a 90-10, it's a 72-28%, isn't it? So in essence, we have to approve of the whole bond, but it's really 1.8 million it would be, because SBAB pays the 72%, which would be the majority of it, really, wouldn't it be?
That's exactly it. There are two purposes to a loan order. The first is to obtain authorization to spend the money. The second is to borrow the money to raise the amount to spend. So the MSBA says we have to do the loan order for 100% of the cost, the $6.75 million, because that's what we're going to spend. We're not actually going to borrow that amount. We're only going to borrow the net amount, $1.8 million. But the even better news is that some of that work, $285,000 worth, had already been approved in the Amoresco loan order. So now that we're going to do it under this new loan order, we can reduce Amoresco. So in effect, we're only issuing about $1.5 million of new bonds to do $6.75 million of work.
And none of this work in the 20 million included, like the roof to those particular, like Lowell High School and Moody, the Washington, that was not included in that?
Well, there was part of that. The new loan order does replace the high school roof. In the Amoresco project, they had a piece of the roof included in that. So there are about $285,000 worth of work that we could actually pull out of Amoresco and put in this new loan order.
Will any of this be applied to the maintenance of effort at all, or not? No, it will not be. Which it should
Construction
be.
doesn't
I don't know
apply.
why it can't be, but, okay, it can't be, okay.
Thank you. We already voted on referring that to a public hearing on November 29th. Under reports, we do have on the agenda the Comcast Cable TV Subcommittee, but I don't believe they met, so we'll just put that on. Council Martin.
I asked that this be put on.
Okay.
It's actually had the wrong name of the subcommittee. It's now called Technology and Utilities. And the reason I asked that it be put on the agenda is, though the subcommittee is not met, I have received a request from Lowell Telecommunications Corporation for council appointees to the LTC board. So the members of the council may recall the council has 6 appointees to the board, of which I am one as chair of this subcommittee, and 5 others. So most of the council appointees have had very good attendance and been solid contributors to the board, but there's a few who have had other interests and not been as active. So I think there's opportunity for new people to serve, and so that's why I wanted to make that announcement at a public meeting. I did just get this request last week. The terms run through the annual meeting for LTC, which is in the first week of December. So they have asked if we could make our appointments by their annual meeting in the first week of December. That will be helpful. So I wanted to make that announcement, solicit interest. If other members of the council have people who they think would be interested in being a council appointee to the LTC board, either forward them to me or forward them to Diane in the mayor's office. And I've scheduled a meeting on this for next Tuesday for us to consider who the appointees might be. And if there's a need for a follow-up meeting, we'll have that. But the idea would be to come back here before the end of the month with a recommended list of appointees of 6. The council has 6 appointees. I believe the manager has 6 of his own, and then it's a fairly extensive board with a
School
lot of
Department has a couple.
community-wide participation. So to my colleagues and to members of the public, if folks are interested in serving on the Lowell Telecommunications Corporation board, now's the time to speak up.
Thank you. Councilor Mendonça.
If I could just ask the chair of the subcommittee to have in our packet the list of those members that wish to continue.
Sure, I'll contact them this week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on, Councilor Mercia?
Do we know who else is on the subcommittee with you?
Yes.
Good, I knew you had it ready.
You are, and Counselor Elliott.
Ooh, Okay.
Okay. And what time is that on Tuesday?
I think 5:30 next week.
Great. Okay.
Is that okay?
Councilman Mendoza?
Just the people on the Clerk Oversight Subcommittee, at the last meeting, we had tentatively scheduled this coming Thursday, but through conflicts in the clerk's office and the city manager, we're postponing it for a week. So to
November 17th?
17th.
Okay, thank you. Anything else on the subcommittee reports? Motion to accept both subcommittee reports as a report of progress by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Mendoza. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, it's a vote. Under general petitions, we have one claim for property damage. Motion by Councilor Murphy, seconded by Councilor Dakota, to refer it to the law department. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, it's a vote. Moving on to the motion section of the agenda this evening. The first motion by Councilor Murphy. City Council requests the city manager seek report from National Grid representatives on recent response to restore power, as well as prior preventative maintenance work program. Second by Councilor Mercia. Councilor Murphy.
Motion speaks for itself.
Thank you, Councilor Murphy. All those in favor of Councilor
Aye.
Murphy's motion signify by saying aye. Councilor Elliott.
Yeah, I just think this is a good idea to touch base on, and I'm sure you have, Mr. Manager, we all know it's the preventative work. And I can recall, I think it was about 4 years ago, the power company came in and they did, seemed like a massive amount of work, and I know it's a regular maintenance program, but I look forward to the report, but I think it makes sense considering the city doesn't do any of that work. Is it all National Grid, or is it Comcast or Verizon, or National Grid owns the poles?
It's pretty much National Grid. We do some tree clearing work for trees that are at risk of falling in the public way than necessarily falling
Or
the
on city
wires.
property? Okay.
Only on city property, correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed is to vote. Next motion by Councilor Murphy. Motion, City Council requests the city manager report on analysis of potential for regionally or municipally owned electrical utility, and with council input include Mass Bill House 869 in developing the city's legislative agenda. Second by Councilor Broderick. Councilor Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Very briefly, I think the last several storms, major storms that we've had, have really shown the advantages of having a municipally owned utility, which include quicker response times as well as lower rates, sometimes 4 to 36% lower. But there are obviously also disadvantages, chief among them the state law, which really doesn't have a requirement that the utility companies sell their equipment and their infrastructure back to a city if offered a fair price. And so that's why I included the second part, the bill which seeks to do that, so that even if we don't exercise the option to move in that direction, that you at least have the competition there, which creates better pricing, I think, for the customers here.
Thank you. Manager Lynch.
Just very briefly, House 869, I'm not sure if this is the one. Is this the one that's being pushed by some representatives from the town of Lexington? Do you happen to know?
I believe there are some. It's the act to rules to establish a municipal electrical authority or something.
Okay, I think they sort of took the lead on it. There's one individual there in particular, but a number of communities have signed on.
Right, they're one of the communities that actually would like to join Concord, I think. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions on the motion? Councilor Martin?
Yeah, I was very intrigued by this. I do, there was a story in the Globe, I think, a few weeks ago before the storm about how there had been a push by some municipalities seeking approval to operate their own municipal lighting plants. That's been pretty much stymied by National Grid. Obviously, they don't want anybody taking that business back. But we're now dealing with a company that's based overseas, that's operating the electrical grid, in the entire Northeast. So I'm skeptical that we would be able to afford to do something like this, but that's maybe where the legislation comes in. And I do think it's worth a fresh look, because I think, much like the case for health insurance reform, when enough cities and towns start pushing, you get reaction, and hopefully some favorable reaction. I think we fared better than most of the surrounding communities in the last storm, but there's still a significant portion of the city out of power for a number of days, and we just have not had that in the past. So something needs to be done in this. I'm intrigued that this may be a good first step.
Thank you. Anyone else on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed to vote. The last motion of the evening by Councilor Dakota. Motion: City Council requests the city manager provide and widely market free parking in downtown evenings and weekends during the holiday season. Seconded by Councilor Caulfield. Councilor Dakota.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I actually would like to amend this to read, to market free on-street parking, so we're not interfering with their enterprise fund, if we could. I know that it's been a difficult couple months downtown, and it might be a boost to the business owners, just if people can eliminate that perception of the expense and the hassle of parking, so that they can just come and enjoy the downtown. So I'd appreciate any efforts that we can to market parking availability downtown. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So the motion as amended would read free on-street parking in the downtown. Any comments, questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed to vote. Councilor Elliott.
Mr. Mayor, before we recess, I just wanted to request a suspension of the rules to bring, and to state the purpose. I just wanted to get an update from the manager on poll coverage at some of the locations. So that's the purpose.
Motion by Councilor Elliott to suspend the rules for the purpose of discussing poll coverage. Second by Councilor Dakota.
And it's just an update. At the poll that I vote at anyway,
all those in favor signify by
sorry.
saying aye. Opposed, vote. Councilor Elliott.
There was coverage. There was only 50% of the coverage, I suppose. There's usually 2 in on the way out. And I happened to visit another one, and apparently there was a shortage there as well. So I'm wondering, are we not paying people enough, or I don't know if it's just those 2 locations. I figured I would bring it up and ask you to find out if there is. I know the worker said apparently, I don't know, I don't think it's widespread, but I'm just curious why we didn't, given this economy, why we didn't have people that would want to be able to do this. So now, again, I'm just speaking, this is, out in 6-3 and then another location. So maybe it was just those, but if we could just get an update that.
Let me get a report for you, Councilor. I wasn't, frankly, this is news to me, so
Right.
I'll find out. We'll get a report to the council tonight.
I guess my concern is, I know there's low turnout, but if there wasn't, there would have been, some issues. So, and maybe it's just those 2. I don't know, but I just wanted to raise it.
But anyway, I'll find out. I'll find out what the status is of that and get a report back to the
Okay,
council.
thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Elliott. Councilor Dakota.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I actually had the same report in my precinct, and they thought perhaps there wasn't enough marketing. The workers at my precinct weren't actually told that they were going to be paid, apparently, and so they felt that if we marketed that it was a paid position, there might be more people volunteering or coming up to work. So we're hearing it all over town.
We'll check on that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Get back on the regular agenda. Anything else to come before the council this evening? Hearing none, motion to adjourn by Councilor Murphy, seconded by Councilor Mendonça. We stand adjourned. Want to wish all the candidates good luck this evening and Godspeed. Thank you.